What is going on, user people? New York Cards and Comics here. Today, buckle up, prepare the comment section for the bot invasion. We are going to talk a little tag. Tag. The little grading company that could. Tag is at a interesting crossroads, whether they know it or not. GemRate has been giving me their numbers for probably almost a year now. Plus, we've been tracking the tag population reports. For the past 6 to 8 months, it has been heavily dominated by Pokemon repacks. And you can tell this because of the crazy volume that they're getting. They get very to little sports action on their monthly pop reports. And just if you look at their overall pop report in whole, there's not a lot of sports on it. It is mostly Pokemon. And I think they are leaned heavily into that by the repack stuff and just some of the general marketing that they have done around TCG. That's where they have caught their niche, for better or for worse. But it really feels like they're at a crossroads right now. I had talked in the past, the problem with the repack situation is, and relying so heavily on it, is that you don't have natural demand from the market at large. A bulk of your numbers are being sustained by the repack numbers, which is fine. It keeps the money moving through the system. You're getting cards out into the market, but you don't really have true user demand. Well, that changed at the beginning of the year with the Pokemon boom that is going on right now. PSA being a little bit slow on stuff, and Tag kind of having that foothold with doing all those Pokemon repacks kind of led to this moment. And that's kind of where things are falling apart. All of a sudden, they got real demand from submitters. And on paper, you would say, great, everything that we have done has worked out perfectly. And they have made public statements about 470% increases and all this other stuff. And on paper, it all sounds like sunshine and kittens and rainbows. And this is fantastic. However, they weren't ready for it. There has been, you could go look. This is the Tag Grading Community Buy-Sell Trade Group, I think it is. Go scroll through there. I pulled this one post up. It was the first one that popped up. But just scroll through there, and you will see question after question of, holy cow, my order was submitted on X day. We are now way past when this order was supposed to be due. That's one type of post that you'll see a lot of. Basically this over and over and over again. The other type of post that you will see is, I sent customer service an email about X, Y, or Z issue. Regardless of what the issue is, I've reached, the post will be something to the effect of, I reached out to customer service, and it has been X number of days and or weeks and have not gotten a response during this boom time. And Tag has also made statements talking about how they are floored by this and ramping up, more machines, more people, more receiving people, more customer service people, whatever the case might be. The problem is, as we've all learned, those of us that came through the pandemic times, I have interviewed all 4 major grading companies on the channel over the years. And pretty much all of those, specifically with SGC and specifically with PSA, and I don't remember if I touched on this with the CGC guys or not, but definitely with PSA and 100% with Peter, we talked about the pandemic whammy that they got with grading orders. And what a nightmare it was for them to dig out of that. Now, PSA and SGC, and this was, pre-Collectors Universe owning SGC, were two very well-established brands in the hobby. Tag is not. Tag does not have a built-in history with people where they could potentially give them the benefit of the doubt. How they kind of respond to this, and I feel like they've already dropped the ball to a degree, is going to be very key for the future of Tag. Because all of a sudden you have legitimate interest from individuals grading with you, not repackers. And it's clear that a little bit of increase in demand, or what they'll say a lot of it, but a massive increase in demand has broken the system. Because in the past, they were probably used to getting, their normal flow of orders from individuals. And then also, okay, here's a 5,000 count order for X repacker or whatever, bulk submitter. Now, all of a sudden, the receiving team has piles of small orders coming in the door. That takes way more time to mess around with. There's posts on here talking about my order was delivered a month ago. It's still not checked in yet for 10-day services. That's a problem. And like I said, they mentioned, hey, we're ramping up. Like I said, that takes a lot of time. That is not just flipping a switch. Go talk to Peter down in Florida. Go talk to Ryan Hogue over at PSA or Nat Turner on what that process was like. Go back and watch the interviews where they spoke about what it was like during that time and how hard it was to unbury themselves from that. The problem is, in the meantime, all of a sudden, and this is where the Tag angle of this comes in, because they don't have a built-in track record like PSA and SGC do, a lot of people are flocking to them for the first time. And their first experience with them is this. Long delays. When all they've heard about from the Tag bots is, oh, grade with Tag. It's so much faster than PSA. Why would you ever send cards to PSA? It takes 9 months to get your cards back. And they're like, oh, well, I'll send them off to Tag. I'll get them back super fast. And then this happens. There was the whole issue with the slabs, which they've addressed. It sounds like they're sealing them better or something. Hopefully that clears that up. But that was a little bit of a hit for them. Regardless, you have all these first-time customers coming in, and this is what they're being smacked in the face with. They were sold a bill of, oh, this isn't like the PSA experience, and then they dive in, and they're getting the PSA experience, but worse. On the flip side of that, and I don't know how this is going to go, this is just me speculating. Some Tag cards, TCG specifically, Pokemon specifically, have been comping very strong. I don't know how real that is and how much that's manipulated. But you could go look at eBay sold listings or 130 point or whatever, and there are examples of certain cards selling for very strong prices compared to PSA 10s. My question there is twofold. Is it real? And are there enough Tag believers to keep that price up there? Because if it's only Tag believers selling to other Tag believers, prior to this, that's okay. Because supply is small. We see this all the time with, I don't care what grading company, I don't care what card, take a grading company out of it, just cards in general. What's going to happen when the supply of Tag 10s increases drastically once they start grading all this stuff? And all these people that sent all these tag slabs in to get them back, and then if they're going to go try to sell them, are there enough tag buyers on the back end to keep those comps high? Because it's all well, you heard this for years back in the day with SGC. This was my favorite thing when you would do the whole PSA 10 versus SGC 10 price comparison. The SGC true believers would say, oh, you price it at PSA 10 comps and you sit and wait. You make them come to you. It's the only way we're going to reset this market. Sure, that might work for some people. Maybe some people can afford to sit there and be patient, especially the early adopters, the true tag bots. The OG tag bots, the T800s, could maybe get away with that because they're patient, because they can afford to be patient. They're the early adopters. They want to prove it to everybody. Does this new batch of submitters coming in feel the same? Or did they all rush the tag because PSA was a little bit busy? They're going to get all these slabs back. They're all going to hit the market. And a lot of those people aren't going to have the same patience. They're going to let it rip on a 99-cent auction on eBay. They're going to put it up for best offer, buy it now. They may or may not see interest in the card, and then all of a sudden they'll stop dropping the price, or they'll get an offer and they'll accept it, and all of a sudden those strong comps that you had start trending down. Because I don't know that there's enough people willing to submit the tag right now to break the system. But the problem is, or the question, I guess, are there enough people on the opposite end that actually want to pay money for a tag slab equal to or close to a PSA 10 slab? Right now, there is on certain cards, or it's at least close-ish. But the problem is the supply is super limited. And then what happens with all these people that kind of got punched in the face by this turnaround time stuff, customer service problems, the slab cracking nonsense, and everything else going on over there? And I don't have answers to these questions. This is me just asking them and kind of speculating and going off what I'm seeing on social. It's a great problem to have, but if they don't nail it, it could backfire in their face. It took SGC a year to kind of turn their stuff around, if not longer. It took them months to dig out of the backlog. Then it took them months to a year or more to kind of fix their reputation, to get it to where it is today. So the path is there. Peter laid it out for you. The path is there for them to follow. They just follow the SGC path. The same thing happened to them. The question is, can they pull it off? And are there enough tag believers to be buyers of the slabs on the back end? As always, curious for your thoughts and comments down below. Interesting times, as always, in the hobby. We will catch you boys and girls on the next one. Peace.